Meet Chad. He recently captured some interesting footage of a UFO on the Colorado Mountain Trail near Saguache, Colorado. Early in the morning before the sun had risen, on July 28th, 2021, Chad captured a video of an object going over the trees and through the valley. He was partaking in a multi-day bike race across the entire state of Colorado through the Rocky Mountains. His movements were being tracked by GPS as well as the other riders, as you can see in this photo here. He was able to record two different videos back to back of this particular UFO. We've zoomed in just a little bit from the original recording so you can see the UFO a little bit better. Later on, we'll do a fully zoomed in analysis.
I don't know what the fuck this is. I haven't slept very much in days. Is it a drone? Am I going crazy? What the fuck? There's no other riders around me. My buddy Travis is like a mile up. There's another guy 2 or 3 miles back. I'm gonna pause this for now. It's coming at me. I'm curious, but I'm also scared because I haven't been sleeping. Oh, it's a beautiful morning. Sunrise right after the wilderness detour. What the fuck? It's only like 150 feet away. It's right in between those trees, distance-wise. It's basically hovering right where I was just watching it from. All right.
While for many it's very easy to say it looks like a Mylar balloon, I think the location is what is most striking. It is extremely remote, and while possible for a balloon to float all the way out deep into the Rocky Mountains, it seems highly unlikely. Because I personally know Chad, he let me interview him for this video, and we took a trip out to where the original incident happened, had a camping trip over the weekend with a few friends, and tried to take some measurements and get a better idea of the surrounding area. We drove the 4.5 hours from Denver down to Saguache County, deep into the San Luis Valley, and into the National Forest. After we went deep into the National Forest, we hiked in even further to meet with the Colorado Trail. We brought our own Mylar balloon to see if we could recreate the experience. Okay, we are at the exact spot where it happened. I'm here with Chad. And so Chad, tell us, you were on the bike ride, and this is how many days in?
It's the fourth day.
Fourth day in. And so behind us is where that first video is, and it's going through the trees. And it's what time of the morning approximately?
It's about 5:48 a.m. if I recall correctly. It was 17 minutes before official sunrise, so yeah.
So you first saw it behind you, and then that video stops. What happened before? And I'll pan here. This is the valley where it came down. What happened in between those videos?
In between those videos, I actually started making my way uphill up the trail here to the east, and keeping an eye on it the whole time, constantly just looking at it while walking away. And then I took my phone out, took another video. The object went between these two trees, and as I kept making my way east, and yeah.
Yeah, I think what's really surprising to me is coming out here and seeing how close these trees are behind you, like maybe if I can step back a little bit, it's not that far. In the video when I first saw it, I had assumed that you were all the way zoomed in on your iPhone and it was like a couple 100 feet out, but this is very close. I mean, this is maybe like 60, 80 feet away.
Yeah, it's close, and having the perspective of seeing it pass in front of some trees, behind others, getting that kind of contextual idea of how big it is.
So I know it was early in the morning, you've been biking for multiple days, you were tired, you mentioned that in the video. Walk me through how you're feeling, you know, just in general, seeing everything, as well as being multiple days into the race, it being early in the morning. You had got up at something like 2 a.m., is that right?
Yeah, the alarm went off at 1:45 and started pedaling around 2. So, you know, real deep, kind of settled in, fully awake, but totally remote, just pushing through after a few days of hard work, and looked over early in the morning. It was pretty shocking, I guess. It kind of just takes you off guard, makes you a little speechless.
What was the feeling like? Were you just like, what did you immediately think it was? Did you, like, walk us through the experience?
Immediately, it just looked like a metal basketball-sized sphere, like, and I had some trepidation, just being totally, like, had no idea what it could be, just this totally unknown thing. So I felt pretty cautious around it, having, again, being so remote and being totally alone. When you find this thing that you have no idea what it is, I guess it's the same feeling I would have had if it was, say, a mountain lion, where it's really cool, it's really intriguing, but what's going to happen?
Yeah, so, I mean, that means, like, instinctually, like, in your mind, you didn't feel like it was a balloon or a drone or something else along those lines. Like, you immediately felt like it was flying, is that right? Or did you feel like it was floating with the wind? Or, like, how did you interpret it?
There wasn't really any wind, if you can imagine, like, a totally still, just peaceful morning.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. There was no feeling from a, there was no wind.
And I think you can see that in the video. Like, there's grass below, like, exactly where we are here, and it's not really moving. So, in terms of, looking at the footage, zooming in with the footage, it doesn't necessarily look spherical when you zoom in. It almost looks like the top is slightly pointed, the bottom's maybe roundish. It kind of almost looks like it changes shape. When you were filming, were you looking in the phone because you were zoomed in, or were you looking at it, or did you get a good view of it?
Yeah, a little of both. I wanted to make sure I kept it on the screen. And also in the low light, it was 17 minutes before sunrise, so everything wasn't totally clear. But the way it was moving, the fluidity, the consistency, the way it was navigating obstacles without getting caught or anything, it felt very unnatural in that regard.
Slowing the first video down and doing some instant rewinds shows the object a little bit better against the silhouette of the tree. The object appears to have a jellyfish-like shape, with the bottom moving and the top stationary. As we zoom into the second video, we can see the shape that appears to change. In the beginning right here, we see what looks like a dimple on the right side. For those who think it's a Mylar balloon, also consider that this is before the sun has even risen. This is at 5:48 in the morning, so there is no direct sun, which what appears to be hard dark shadows and bright white surfaces. Perhaps we're just seeing different angles of the object, but as it starts to fall into the valley, we see what appears to be a different shape taking place. It now appears to have a circle with a triangle above it as it descends into the rest of the valley. Standing in the woods of the first video, you can see how dense the brush is. There's some open spots, but it's still pretty difficult to navigate. After carefully reviewing the footage over and over, we decided to measure to the spot. We came to the conclusion it was around 220 feet from where he was standing. While attempting to make the balloon neutrally buoyant by tying weights to it, the wind swept it away and the balloon started to drift away. You can get an idea of what a balloon looks like, albeit much more full than possibly one that had been out in the wilderness for days. We ultimately did retrieve it when the wind stopped. It came back down further down the valley. While this video of a balloon certainly could fool someone to think it's a UFO, we thought the original object was just very different. There was no string, no markings, moving horizontal, and just the pure remoteness was quite odd. We ultimately left it at the UFO Watchtower in Hooper, Colorado, in the San Luis Valley.